Hi, Wendy. I just did my first sprint 2 weeks ago. Congratulations. I borrowed a bike from a family member to use on race day, and now I'd like to get a bike of my own. I see such a wide range of prices for bicycles, but I'd like to keep mine under $800. Are there any bike recommendations under that price? My motivation is just fitness and to enjoy the challenge that multi-sport provides, so I probably don't need a serious bike. I'm looking to do another sprint in September. Thanks in advance for any advice.
Again, good question. I've actually made a video on the Endurance Hour YouTube channel about bike purchases, going from myself. I used a mountain bike for my first race, and then I used a borrowed road bike. For my second race, I didn't know how to clip in. I was in the small chain ring. I didn't know how to shift gears at all. So, I understand what you're going through when you're using a borrowed bike. And then I was really motivated to buy my first road bike. I didn't even really know the difference between road bike and triathlon bike back then. And the best advice someone gave me was don't buy the first bike you ride. Because for me, going from mountain bike to borrowed bike to my own bike, of course I wanted to, but I took that advice to heart and I didn't. And so I did my shopping. I got experience on, different types of bikes, different styles of frames. The cost of the bike is usually the different, you could look at two road bikes or two triathlon bikes and be like, why is one $1,000 and one is $5,000? And usually that has to do with the components, bringing brakes, cables, gearing, shifters, derailleurs, and some components you can buy low cost, for a $500, and then some components that have like electrical shifters are going to be like $2,500 to $3,000. And so that is usually the difference between the cost and bikes, as well as what the frame is made out of. Is it going to be steel? My first road bike was a steel frame. It was still fairly light though. So you're going to have steel, aluminum, titanium, and carbon, to name four that I'm familiar with. And carbon's usually the lightest and most expensive. So you always want to check out, what is the bike made out of material-wise and what kind of components they have, because that's definitely going to fluctuate the price. You can get a very good used bike for $800 or less. And what does she use the word in there? She doesn't need a serious bike. I kind of laughed at that because a serious bike is so relative to the person and what serious means to you. I believe you can get a serious bike, and I'm defining serious bike as a nice, lightly used triathlon bike with pretty decent end, maybe middle of the range components, for about $800, maybe up to $1,500.
Yeah, everything you're saying here, I looked up just entry-level triathlon bike and prices, and this is something from May of 2022, and yeah, you can go as low as $600. Go to Craigslist or eBay, look for something 3 years old, try to get carbon if you can. But used bikes, people are transitioning into the sport and out of the sport. Sometimes people are just doing it for a couple of years and they realize, I'm not going to need my bike anymore, so why hang on to this bike? I'll sell it and get a few $100, and it's a benefit to you. So look in those places, and again, like Wendy was saying, look for the frame. Was carbon, aluminum, titanium. Components might be an issue if you want to go road with clip-on aero bars, but nowadays you can just get a straight-up triathlon bike, or TT bike as they call it, and then just find something used, and that way you're not going too far in the hole with your non-serious bike, and you can still get out there and enjoy the sport.
Oh yeah, and make sure this is a worthwhile extra investment. Make sure you invest in a bike fit.
Yes.
I think, again, that someone told me this probably 30 years ago, and I say it all the time. A bike fit, if you're going to invest in a bike, make sure it fits you, and spend the extra $200-300 to go to a professional bike fit that's well known, that has high credentials, to make sure it fits you and you get the right components.
Yeah, knowing what size bike you need as well. So if you go in, do your research by going physically into a bike shop and saying, what size am I? I know what size I am on my bike, and I recently bought a road bike recently, and I told the guy I bought it from, a friend of mine from high school, I said, hey, I'm a 56 on my tri bike on my Trek. I'm looking for a road bike, and we're the same height. He and I think he might be 6 feet tall, but we're both about 5'11". So he already knew, based on his height, what bike size I would be on a road bike. And so he goes, I got it to 55, but in this bike, this Orbea, 55 really means anywhere between blah, 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 So it all fit, no problem. So I got there, and we made a couple of adjustments on the seat height and the front and the front and back part of it. So
Yeah.
it was good, but I already knew what size I was. So making sure it's the right size, and then the adjustments that someone else can make for you, and where your knee hits over your toe, for example, how far back you are, how comfortable your arms are when your hands are in the hoods. So yeah, there's some things to consider, and then that fit has to be established, because a $200 bike with the wrong fit is going to cost you a lot more in chiropractor bills and massages later. So get a good bike that fits you.
Exactly.